Now, an American businesswoman whose past friendship with Boris Johnson is a matter of controversy has broken her silence about her dealings with Mr Johnson when he was Mayor of London. Jennifer Arcuri joined trade missions led by Mr Johnson and received thousands of pounds of public money, giving rise to questions over a potential conflict of interest over their friendship. Ms Arcuri has refused to deny that they had an intimate relationship, and she said the Prime Minister was just a really good friend. Mr Johnson has insisted everything was done entirely in the proper way. Our correspondent Helen Catt has the latest.
I hope you're having a productive...
When then Mayor of London Boris Johnson agreed to speak at her events, young tech entrepreneur Jennifer Arcuri was overjoyed.
I'm ready to hang out.
Yeah, look at that! Boris is hanging out!
He ended up being the star attraction at several.
You like hanging out with us, right?
I'm always got.
She and her startup business took part in a number of trade missions run by City Hall and received public funds while he was in post. Speaking to ITV's Good Morning Britain earlier, Jennifer Arcuri denied their friendship had earned her preferential treatment.
Boris never, ever gave me favoritism. Never once did I ask him for a favor. Never once did he write a letter of recommendation for me. He didn't know about my asking to go to trips.
Ms Arcuri said Mr Johnson had become a really good friend and that he'd visited her at her office in her flat in East London 5, 10, a handful of times. She refused to answer questions over whether or not there had been a more intimate relationship.
Because the press have made me this objectified ex-model pole dancer, I really am not going to answer that question.
So you won't deny it?
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be putting myself in a position for you to weaponize my answer.
No, I get it.
I'm being used as a pawn.
The London Assembly is investigating Boris Johnson's links with Ms Arcuri. Its code of conduct says holders of public office should act solely in terms of the public interest. They should not do so in order to gain financial or other benefits for themselves, their family or their friends. And they should declare any private interests.
How are you doing?
On a visit to a hospital in Watford earlier, Boris Johnson was asked if he thought he'd broken it.
No, and I've said, I think, everything I'm going to say on that matter.
The London Assembly still have questions.
We want him to set out all of his dealings with Ms Arcuri, and we also want him to explain this whole issue around declarations. You know, what did he do? Was due diligence done?
Boris Johnson has previously said he will cooperate with the London Assembly's investigation, although he thought they were barking up the wrong tree. Yet another challenge then for the Prime Minister at the start of yet another crucial week. Helen Catt, BBC News, Westminster.
Now, the media regulator Ofcom has accused the BBC of a lack of transparency over its handling of a complaint against the breakfast presenter Naga Munchetty for comments that she'd made about President Trump. The complaint was partially upheld by the BBC, but last week reversed by the Director General following the reaction from colleagues and members of the public. Ofcom criticised the BBC's failure to publish its reason for both decisions and said it would be addressing the matter urgently. Now let's have a look at the headlines here at 5:14.